principle is that we have to let really competent people, great people, come into our country, and we do that through the H-1 program.
Tariffs on Canada and Mexico in an effort to force negotiations sooner on USMCA?
No, it's really not on US. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed both of them, Canada very much so. They've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't. And they've killed 300,000 people last year, my opinion, have been destroyed by drugs, by fentanyl. The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive. The fentanyl coming through Mexico is massive. And people are getting killed.
Oh, how you doing?
Destroyed. I mean, the son gets killed and the family is a basket case for the rest of their life.
Hope everybody's doing pretty well.
That thought they heal. They never heal. They say it gets worse with time. It gets worse with time. They lose their boy, they lose their baby, they lose their young daughter to fentanyl poisoning. And I had that talk with President Xi the other day, too, of China. I said, we don't want that crap in our country. We got to stop it. I would have stopped it. I had a deal with him where he was dealers if they sent to the United States, they were going to get the death penalty. And, of course, Biden didn't pick that up. I had that deal all done. It was all wrapped up. We were going to have it done. And then the election
Happened.
went, let's put it nicely, it didn't go the proper way. I'm trying to be nice about it. It was rigged. And we had an incompetent president elected, and he never followed up on that deal. But he should have.
How you doing, Disaster? I hope you have a good day.
They wouldn't be sending fentanyl to Mexico, Canada, and other places. We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
Just vibing, yeah, that's good. Vibing is good. It's been a while since I've seen you. Zombie.
For Mexico and China, we're talking about approximately 25%.
On the Gaza ceasefire, are you planning to travel to the Middle East soon?
We're thinking about going to the Middle East, not yet. We have a thing called the hostages are coming back going on right now, and they are coming back.
No, I am not in Chicago. Are you from Chicago, Just Junior? How you doing, Just Junior?
Practically blown off. You know how that happened, right? Did you know that?
Hi, how are you? I'm good. Don't forget to like.
The hostages are starting to come back. If I weren't here, they wouldn't be back.
Like and sub.
They would have never come back. They would have all died. If this were done a year earlier, if Biden would have done this deal a year and a half, 2 years
The
ago,
mushroom man. How you doing, mushroom man?
Never happened. October 7th should have never happened. Nobody should be dead. But through weakness, they allowed it to happen, and then
Thank you.
Disaster from there. But you go back just 6 months ago.
Put a black and blue there because of the shot.
You know, young people don't die like that. They're just dying, and young people aren't dying at 22 and 23 years old.
Do me a favor, like and subscribe.
Now they're dying, and you wonder why they're dying. They're being killed, and they have been killed. But they say 6 months ago you would have had 11 more living hostages. Think of that. 6 months ago, but Biden couldn't get it done, and it was only the imposition that I
I'm
put
drinking
on
ginger ale because my stomach, so
that got it done. But it's a very sad situation.
this is sugar free.
It should have never happened. I'll tell you, 2 things should have never happened. 3 things. Inflation should have never happened. It would have never happened, except for what they did to energy and their crazy spending. And Ukraine would have never happened. Never. By the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that it would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. And also, the Middle East would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. It would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. But it did happen. So this is the cards I've been given. And we're getting the hostages back. That would have never happened under Biden. They would have never come back. They were just dying.
Helps with my belly.
Not that slowly. They were dying or being killed. But that was what was happening.
Are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
Well, we'll look into that. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon, and we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying because
Oh
under
damn! How the
Biden, I mean,
freak
we're
8
in there
people
for
just
$200
leave that
billion
fast?
more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union.
That's a lot of money.
What are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying, and a lot of those countries weren't even paying. The NATO countries, they weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying.
That's not that many.
We were one of them, and Poland was one, and they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually, the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid. Okay, the ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
The U.S. President Xi, in your conversation about Ukraine, you asked him to get involved in helping settle that. Can you tell us about that?
I did, yeah. I said, you ought to get it settled, because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said,
Yep.
You ought to get it settled. We did discuss it, yeah.
And to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't
Elite,
checked it.
hola,
Where is it today?
¿cómo estás?
And you made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys. Yeah, he wrote me a nice letter. I mean, I did open it last night. And I didn't know. Peter said, did you get the letter? I said, wait a minute, let's see the letter. It's sort of a tradition. You put it in the drawer, especially of the beautiful Resolute desk, right? And I opened it, and there it was. It said to number 47. And it was a very nice letter. I mean, I could show it because I think it was a nice letter. Maybe I will. I think just basically, it was a little bit of an inspirational type letter, you know. Enjoy it, do a good job. Important, very important, how important the job is. But I think it was a nice letter. I think I should let people see it because it was a positive for him in writing it. I appreciated the letter.
President, were security concerns at all a factor when deciding to move your inauguration indoors?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It was just cold. Look, if we would have, you know, I just went out
It
to
was
the
cold
helicopter,
yesterday.
right,
It was cold. It was cold today too. It was
say
freezing.
goodbye. That's a tradition. As long as helicopter, before it used to be a stagecoach, and then helicopters came along. But that's been a tradition. You go out and you do that. And we stood there for 10 minutes, and I'll tell you what, people would not have been able to get through that day. That was cold. It was sort of interesting.
Yeah,
Don't
yesterday
let the
was
sun
cold
fool you.
in
Tell
Washington,
me
D.C.,
something.
and today's
Sunny
colder.
days can get very cold, can't they? Because that was so freezing yesterday. You couldn't have gotten through it. It would have been. And the answer is no, it wasn't secured. With that being said, I thought the Capitol, the Rotunda, was beautiful.
Yeah.
72 degrees, unbelievable sound.
Yep.
You know, it's like being in an opera house. I could see people wanting to do it there rather than outside.
Why did you remove John Bolton's security clearance, sir?
Because I think there was enough time. You take a job.
Thank you guys for
You
whoever's
take a job, you want to do a
watching
job.
this.
We're not
I
going to have
appreciate
security
it.
on people for the rest of their lives. Why should we? I thought he was a very dumb person, but I used him well because every time people saw me come into a meeting with John Bolton standing behind me, they thought
It's appreciated.
attack
The
them.
4 people that are
He's a
here constantly
warmonger.
right now.
he's the one that got us
I haven't gained
involved,
any
along with
subscribers,
Cheney and
but
a
that's
couple of others,
okay.
convinced Bush, which was a terrible decision, to blow up the Middle East. You know, we blew up the Middle East and we left. We got nothing out of it except a lot of death. We killed a lot of people, and John Bolton was, one of those guys, a stupid guy, But no, you can't have that for life. You shouldn't expect it for life.
With President Zelensky, will that take place here, and when and where will you meet with?
I don't know. I mean, look, President Zelensky would like to have peace. He's told me that very strongly.
We all
He'd
want
like to
peace.
have peace, but it takes two to tango. We'll see what happens.
We all want peace.
Anytime they want, I'll meet. I'd like to see that end. Millions of people are being killed, and they're being killed. It's a vicious situation, and they're now largely soldiers. A lot of people have been killed in the cities. They look like demolition sites. Buildings, massive buildings bombed and coming down.
That's
The thing
sad.
with Ukraine is that many more people died than you're reporting. You're not reporting the real numbers, and I'm not blaming you for that. I'm blaming maybe our government for not wanting to release those numbers. Many more people died than what you know about. When those big buildings come down and they say 2 people were injured, no. Many people, thousands of people are being killed. But the real killing now is on the war front. It's a
Wow.
very flat land. And the only thing that stops a bullet is somebody's body. And you have young soldiers. So Russia's lost about 800,000 soldiers now. Ukraine's lost about 600 or 700,000. I think the numbers are low that they're giving out. But they've lost massive numbers of young
That's sad.
soldiers. And that war should stop. It's very flat, it's beautiful farmland, and it's flat and really beautiful in a different kind of a way, but they don't have any protection. The only thing that stops a bullet is a body. And those bodies are stopping a lot of bullets, and they're being decimated, both sides.
Wow.
In your conversation with President Xi, what did you tell him in terms of when you expect tariffs? And what can you do to avoid it?
About which one? About tariffs? We didn't talk too much about tariffs, other than he knows where I stand. Look, I put large tariffs on China. I've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Until I was president, China never paid not 10 cents to the United States. With me, they paid hundreds of $600 billion or so, or more than that even, of tariffs. And if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a steel mill open in the United States right now. You wouldn't have one steel mill open in the United States. So what I did is I saved the steel industry.
I don't like either.
Saved other industries
For president,
with other tariffs.
You-
Other
Biden's
countries
not president,
are
and Trump
big
is already
abusers also.
president,
It's
so.
not just China. China's an abuser, but the European Union is very, very bad to us. They treat us very, very badly. They don't take our cars. They don't take our cars at all. They don't take our farm products, essentially. They don't take very much. We have a $350 billion deficit with the European Union. They treat us very, very badly. So they're going to be in for tariffs. It's the only way you're going to get back. It's the only way you're going to get fairness. You can't get fairness unless you do that. But the European Union's treated us very badly. But essentially, everybody treats us badly. Everybody treats us badly. Yes, go ahead. Because we allow them to. Because we've had stupid people doing this, and we can't have. I'd like to have these 3 people negotiate for us, just for 1 week, and we'd be a rich country again. But we'll be rich.
On AI data centers, will you
It's
rescind
fucking cold.
Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands?
On which centers?
Will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands for data centers and energy production?
No, I wouldn't do that. That sounds to me like it's something that I would like. I'd like to see federal lands opened up for data centers. I think they're going to be very important. Again, we have a lot of competition for that. So it's an honor to have these 3 great people, great CEOs and great geniuses, all 3. It's an honor that they want to come to our country, but we're going to make it as easy as we can for them because other countries want them to. I'm going to have to go now. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Do you have TikTok on your phone?
No, but I think I might put it there. I think I got it right now. By the way, again, we won the young vote. I think I won it through TikTok. So I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It is freezing. Oh yeah, I see my channel. It's in Awe. When you go to Awe's Medium right there, I see myself there too. It's funny.
You are now tuned in to a broadcast. Welcome to the Critter Mix. It's Critter Season.
I was 16 doing drugs like a superstar. She thought I was lying about the truth, it was too bizarre. All she wanted to do is play me like a new guitar. I was in the water where the sharks and barracudas are. I bet you would drown if you were me. Smoke a whole pound in a week. They would kick me down when I was weak. I used to wanna die in my sleep. Crazy ass bitch, you need a psyche valve. Hating ass bitch, how you like me now? Oh, bet you can't stand me now. Broke boy, can't afford my hand-me-downs. All these mini-me's running around, need a nanny now. Fucking all your cousins, so I guess
Elon Musk might buy it, but he might change the name. It might not be called TikTok no more.
Bloodhounds track me down, still I can't be found. Critter where the cash is, critter where the gas is. Young spider lashes, tripping on some acid. Made of plastic. Only one who can have it is a bad bitch. Put me in a pussy, just admit that you like me. Your outfit sucks and you look like a hypebeast. I think it's funny how you thought I was finished. I'll fuck your bitch, pussy boy, I'm a menace. Crazy ass bitch, you need a psyche valve. Hating ass bitch, how you like me now? Oh, bet you can't stand me now. Broke boy, can't afford my hand-me-downs. All these mini-me's running around, need a nanny now. Fucking all your cousins, so I
Damn, somebody unsubscribed. That sucks.
Gingerbread, trapping out the candy house. Bloodhounds track me down, still I can't be found. Still I can't be found. Still I can't be found. Oh, still I can't be found. Still I can't be found.
I do not know. That is a good question.
Hey, I'm in the studio, bro. Yeah, I'm in the studio. I'm recording. Ain't get to roll no weed. Ain't get to roll no switches. I was locked up on Christmas. Ain't get to see my niggas. Ain't get to hug my mama. Couldn't even give her no kisses.
I'm surprised Richie didn't go live yesterday.
Pussy nigga be snitching. Everybody acting suspicious. Might probably say that I'm tripping. When I'm all alone in my jail cell, I tend to get in my feelings. And all I smoke is that loud. Don't pass me no mixer. And I'ma smoke all of my pain away, 'cause that's the only thing that gon' heal it. I don't understand you women who go around pretending as if they really fuck with me. So I love them all from a distance.
Thank you. I'm surprised you knew my channel was live. Are you subscribed to my channel? AK-47. No. I have 310. Somebody unsubscribed. I don't know who, but.
I got murder on my mind. 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 Yellow tape around his body. It's a fucking homicide. His face is on a t-shirt and his family's traumatized. I didn't even mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot him twice. His body dropped down to the floor. He had tears in his eyes.
Relaxing.
He grabbed me by my hands and said he was afraid to die. I told him it's too late, my friend, it's time to say goodbye.
Relaxing.
He died inside my own, blood all on my shirt. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47, Mac 11 gloves.
I hope so too. He should have just. He should have just kept it as Twitter.
I got murder on my mind. 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 I got murder on my mind.
It's okay.
I like tarantula, bitch, I'm an animal. Mel is a savage, no, he not no amateur. Back his name Angela, fuck no, I'm
Good luck.
Angela. Bitch, I'm a murderer, yes, yes. I might just kill the boy, don't wanna kill the boy. Make him mistake, he won't beat, we gon' grill the boy. I'm bleeding so red, I might dip his ass in it and spit the boy. Murder on my mind. Whoa, whoa, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind.
AK-47.
Smack the niggas, blocks and nines, and all these pussy niggas hating, trying to knock me off my grind. But I can't let them do it. I got murder on my mind, bitch. I got murder on my mind. 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 I got murder on my mind.
Thank you for liking. I can't wait. I can't wait now. You seriously gonna ask me that? Are you immature? Thank you.
I can't breathe, I'm waiting for the exhale. Talk my pain with my wishes in a wishing well. Still no lie, but oh well. I still try even though I know I'm gon' fail. Stress on my shoulders like an anvil. Frankie got me itching like an anthill. Drugs killing me softly, Lord hell. Sometimes I don't know
People.
how to feel. Folk off from depression. Use my past and my memories as a weapon. On the other line,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
speaking of the devil, all the drugs I missed them. This can't be real, is it fiction? Something feels broke, need to fix it. I cry out for help, do they listen?
I didn't ban them, I timed them out.
This is the part where I tell you I'm fine, but I'm lying. I just don't want you to worry. This
If
is
he does it again, he'll get banned.
take all my feelings and hide them, 'cause I don't want nobody to hurt me. I can't breathe, I'm waiting for the exhale. Talk my pain with my wishes in a wishing well. Still no lie, but oh well. I still try even though I know I'm gon' fail. It's stress on my shoulders like an anvil. Frankie got me itching like an anthill. Drugs killing me softly, Lord hell. Sometimes I don't know how to feel. Sometimes I don't know how to feel.
I try not to ban people. I try to give people chances.
Pills, I wouldn't be here. But if I keep taking these pills, I won't be here. Yeah, I just told you
I'm on my cigarettes. Yeah.
tear me to pieces.
Freaking cold my hand.
I stopped taking the drugs and now the drugs take
Yeah, same name.
the part where I tell you I'm fine, but I'm lying. I just don't want
Same name, I believe.
this is the part where I
Let me check.
my feelings and hide them, 'cause I don't want nobody to hurt me. I can't breathe, I'm waiting for the exhale.
So this is officially our last TikTok.
Profile is called. Yeah, same name. Same name. They have the same name. I usually listen to music. Sometimes I'll So New York is making $233,000 an hour from traffic. Dang. There's a video here. Let me see.
It's a crime. It's criminal what they're doing.
Look, this was always going to go one of two ways. Either no one was going to drive into New York City,
Christmas trees flying around, no traffic though,
or people would just keep doing what they have always done, and the city would make a ton of money. Of course, I'm talking about the new New York City Congestion Relief Zone, which is an area in New York that is adding tolls just for driving into the city. Now, I wanted to see what the impact of the new Congestion Relief Zone in New York City is going to be, so I found a bunch of data that will help us.
Driving tax?
But first, what exactly is the congestion zone? Congestion pricing isn't a new idea. Cities like London, Stockholm, and Singapore have already implemented similar programs to address urban traffic and environmental challenges. Let's start with one of the most well-known examples, the London Congestion Charge. In 2003, London introduced its congestion charge, targeting the heart of the city's central business district, about 21 square kilometers. Drivers entering the zone during peak hours were initially charged £5, a fee that has since increased to £15 per day. Well, the results, they were substantial. Traffic volume in the zone decreased by 15% and vehicle delays dropped by 30%. Public transportation became a more attractive option as bus delays were reduced by 60%, with many commuters switching from cars to trains and buses. Environmental impacts were also notable. Nitrogen oxides decreased by 12% and carbon dioxide emissions dropped by 15%. These changes demonstrate how congestion pricing can reshape urban transportation and improve air quality. The idea of congestion pricing in New York City has been debated for decades, and finally in 2019, it became a reality when the program was signed into law as part of the state budget. So why was it introduced? In 2022, Manhattan drivers faced an average of 117 hours of annual delays due to congestion. Meanwhile, transportation accounted for 28% of the city's greenhouse gas emissions, with vehicle exhaust contributing significantly to poor air quality. These issues made congestion pricing a critical solution. The New York City program focuses on Manhattan below 60th Street, where vehicles entering during peak hours will pay a toll of $9 for passenger cars and $14.40 for trucks. Rates go down during the night, and you do get a discount if you paid a toll on a bridge or tunnel coming into the cities. And rideshares like Lyft and Uber are not exempt. They will have a toll of $1.50 and a 75-cent fee for your yellow cabs.
That's expensive,
now, the program
though.
itself has three main stated goals. First, they want to reduce traffic congestion by discouraging unnecessary car trips into Manhattan. The plan aims to cut traffic volumes by 15 to 20%. The second is improving air quality. Lowering the number of vehicles will reduce harmful emissions, contributing to better health outcomes for residents. And finally, they want to fund public transportation. The revenue generated, estimated at about $1 billion annually, will fund critical upgrades to the MTA subway, bus, and commuter rail systems. This investment will make public transit more reliable and accessible, encouraging even more people to leave their cars at home. New York City's congestion pricing plan is ambitious, but it's not without precedent. The question is, can New York City, a city with unique challenges and complexities, replicate the successes of other cities? Well, this is what I wanted to figure out. So let's jump into the data and see what that tells us about what may or may not happen with the congestion pricing. So to actually figure out what was going on or what might happen with congestion pricing, I had to go and find some data. So these were the data sets that I actually came across. So the most helpful data set is actually a data set which contains the annual average daily traffic, or the number of cars that go on each road. This data is from 2019, but it does give us a helpful estimate on how many cars drive on a specific road in any given day. And then finally, what I think is going to tell us the best information is actually this data set here. Unfortunately, it hasn't been updated since congestion pricing went into effect. This data set actually tells us the number of vehicles going through the different toll points that the MTA controls. This is basically some of the bridges and tunnels that are in New York. It doesn't include the tunnels coming in from New Jersey.
Yeah, but my stomach is hurting.
Will give us a good
Acid reflux.
How many cars are actually going in through these points, and maybe it even gives an indication of how much traffic is going up or down after congestion pricing went into effect. So to do all of this, I pulled all this data into Whereabouts. I just dumped it into a cloud storage bucket and started analyzing the data. If you want to check this out, I have the links to all the data in the description here, and then you can actually check out these notebooks here. So after a little bit of data prep, I pushed all of these data sets into a few different maps so we can actually see what's going on. It was pretty easy to do that once I had my data prepped, and I pushed these into some different maps in Felt, which is a great platform for visualizing and analyzing geospatial data. Now, after analyzing the data, figuring out which streets are the ones that are actually going into the congestion zone, using whereabouts, I could push that data up to felt here and then actually see exactly how many cars may or may not be going into the congestion zone. So after looking at the main entrances, which are basically the tunnels here on the west side, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, the bridges here in South Manhattan, the Queens Midtown Tunnel and the Queensboro Bridge, and then finally, all of the southbound roads coming into Street in the north end of the city here, you add all of those up and it looks about 415,000 vehicles would be coming into that zone every day, give or take. And what's cool is that it actually matched up pretty close to what the New York Times was. They actually went out and surveyed for an hour how many cars were moving into the zone. And if you look at their estimates here, they actually ended up at about 347,000. So there may be a little bit more traffic coming in when it's all said and done, but pretty close to what we actually estimated here in the maps. So this seems like a pretty good estimate of what might actually be taking place. Now, this is a data set I'm going to be watching as the congestion pricing goes into effect, which is average speeds around these different areas. So basically, these are the average across all the different entries.
Yeah,
of the data set.
didn't Sean
It's
B?
91 million rows, and it's updated on a very regular basis. So I can actually go in here and see the date, and it's the most recent updated date here. You can see that there's even data coming in on January 10th, which is just about a day ago, and you can see here the speed and travel time. So I'm going to kind of do a before and after, hopefully get a sense of like how these different roads are. But I think the best data set is going to be this one, and it hasn't been updated since congestion pricing went into effect. The data that's most recent is of the day before it went into effect. But this will actually tell us the number of cars that are passing through the different toll points at the MTA controls. Now, the three that matter the most are going to be the Hugh L. Curie or the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel here, which will immediately come into congestion zone, the Queens Midtown Tunnel, and then maybe to see in the RFK Tunnel here if people are trying to avoid it by going outside of this. But if we see a major increase or decrease or no change between these 2 points here, that's going to tell me something about cars going or not going in, but we're just going to have to wait for the data. And it turns out the MTA hasn't really gotten much data after that. So how much money is this whole thing going to make? So assuming that our count of 415,000 vehicles coming into the congestion zone is accurate about every single day, and we just use the average of $9 for every single trip, that comes out to $3.7 million every single day that's going to collect it from the congestion zone pricing. When you average that out for every hour that the congestion zone is active, that's about $233,000 every single hour. And over the course of an entire year, that means about $1.3 billion of revenue for the MTA every single year. So when you see what the data actually tells us, the numbers aren't that far off, and assuming that the car counts don't drop that much, it'll pretty much be on par with what they think, about $1 billion a year and about $200,000 every single hour being collected from congestion pricing in New York City. Now, we still need to get some data back after the congestion pricing went into effect, and hopefully we'll get some more information soon, but in the meantime, I think it's fair to say that most people will still be driving into that zone and in turn paying the toll. And even in the last week, we saw the impact of the money coming in already. The MTA chairman just announced that they bought 265 new clean buses thanks to the money coming in from congestion pricing. And at the same time, some bus drivers are saying that they actually see an impact in bus routes running smoother and faster because of the changes. So long story short, all of the things that the program set out to accomplish may in fact happen.
Have a good sleep.
I'll wait to see once we get the data, but one thing I think is pretty clear is that there is going to be a lot of new money flowing into the city and in turn public transportation because of congestion pricing.
Bye.
When the COVID-19
Let's see what happened. I'm listening to the video.
Streaming services are starting to fail quite badly, actually. A new report just came out stating that in 2024, Americans spent 23% less on streaming services than in 2023. Now, I know I can't be the only one that finds that insane. That's almost a quarter of users canceling their subscriptions. A quarter. This is quite a striking reversal for an industry that once seemed so unstoppable. For over a decade,
streaming services, they keep raising the prices, and nobody want to pay for that shit. That's why they dying.
Promised convenience, the affordability, and endless choice. They revolutionized entertainment in ways.
Netflix was the shit back then, but not no more. I only got it because of WWE.
And subscribers are leaving by the millions. But why though? What's going wrong in the streaming industry? And perhaps more importantly, how does this shift affect us as viewers? In this video, we're going to be looking at the factors that are driving the decline of streaming services. We'll also consider what these changes mean for the future of entertainment and how we as audiences are caught in the middle of this evolving landscape. But before we get started, if you're a fan of my content and you like me yapping about movies, TV shows, and other media, don't forget to like this video because it really helps out the channel.
They're becoming
and
so
allow more
expensive
people
that
to find
people
more of
want to
our
go back to
content.
cable.
Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so that you never miss an upload.
That's sad.
I have a mandate for 2025 where I'll be consistently uploading gravel knot content just like this. To understand the current decline of streaming services, we first need to look back at how we got here. It all really began with Netflix. They're the pioneers that turned streaming into a household norm. By offering a vast library of movies and shows at a fraction of the cost of cable, Netflix transformed how we consume entertainment. But the success of Netflix didn't go unnoticed. Over the years, a flood of competitors entered the market. Each platform promised unique content and a slice of that streaming revolution. Just to illustrate how insane the number of streaming services have skyrocketed, I thought it would be fun to list out how many options I have as a UK citizen.
Too many options.
We have Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, Amazon TV, Paramount Plus, Discovery Plus, Now, BritBox, Movie, Shudder, Acorn TV, Hayu, and Crunchyroll. And I'm pretty sure this is only the paid subscription services.
There's like 15 of
Are
them.
you starting to see the issue now? At first, it felt like a golden age. Viewers had more choices than ever before, but this abundance has quickly turned into oversaturation. With so many services fighting for attention, viewers understandably are getting overwhelmed. Budgets are starting to get stretched thin, and we're living in a cost of living crisis right now. So the question becomes unavoidable. How many streaming subscriptions can one household realistically afford? And with so many streaming services available comes another problem: the fragmentation of content. Instead of a single library to explore, viewers are now forced to chase their favorite shows and movies across multiple platforms. You can have a hit TV show on one service and your favorite blockbuster movie on another. The days of paying one flat fee for everything you love is gone, replaced by a system that feels scattered and, for many, increasingly expensive. This oversaturation and the content fragmentation mark a turning point in the streaming era, one that's left audiences questioning the value of what was once considered the ultimate entertainment solution. As we move further into 2025, one of the most glaring issues with streaming services is the sheer decline in the quality of content. Once regarded as havens for groundbreaking shows and films, many platforms now offer an overwhelming number of forgettable and lackluster titles. Whether it's subpar writing, uninspired performances, or predictable plots, a growing number of viewers are finding themselves disillusioned by the content available. Perhaps even more troubling than the increasing number of low-quality content.
Blockbuster was a shit back then. I love going to Blockbuster, renting my games.
Are being removed, often before the stories have even properly concluded. Now, in the defense of these streaming services, a lot of these cancelled shows stink. So it wouldn't be a profitable idea to keep a show going if it sucks and hardly anyone is watching it. But that's where my issue lies. Why greenlit terrible shows in the first place? It's like they're wasting their real estate on their sites where actually good, compelling movies and shows could be. Now, purely for your entertainment, here's a list of all the shows that were cancelled in 2024. Brace yourself now. Evil, Halo, Chaos, Velma, Walker, Bunked, Arcane, Chucky, The Bray. The Bray? Is that a Bray or a Brie? I've never watched it. I've actually never heard of the show. I have no idea. SWAT, Girls 5 Ever, What If, Station 19, Grownish, Tokyo Vice, Clone High, Obliterated, Blue Bloods, The Acolyte, which I'm probably going to do a whole other video in the near future about because by God, that show stank. Yellowstone, Red vs. Blue, NCSI Hawaii, Sweet Tooth, Snowpiercer, Outer Range, The Old Man, Time Bandits, My Lady Jane, The Bad Batch, Quantum Leap, Young Sheldon, Gavin and Stacey, The 90s Show, Vikings Valhalla, Pretty Little Liars, Superman and Lois, The Good Doctor, Scavenger's Reign, The Big Door Prize, The D'Amelio Show, Star Trek Discovery, The Flight Attendant, Dead Boy Detectives. Ugh, okay, only a couple more. Power Book 2 Ghost, Reginald the Vampire, Orphan Black Echoes, Our Flag Means Death, Star Trek Lower Decks, Somebody Somewhere, The Umbrella Academy, American Born Chinese, What We Do in the Shadows, and last but not least, Camp Coral, SpongeBob's Underyears. Leave in the comment section down below if you'd like me to cover any of these cancellations.
They canceled like 20 shows. Wow, that's a lot.
For many, a lot of these cancellations were justified and the shows ended at an appropriate time. For others, these cancellations felt like betrayal. Viewers have committed their time and attention to these shows, and in return, they're met with unfinished storylines and unanswered questions. This constant cycle of starts and stops not only alienates fans, but creates an atmosphere of uncertainty in the streaming.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back
My
after
investment
midnight because I
showed
think
when
after
you hunt
midnight
for
I'll
shows
get
and
more
have a
views.
chance of properly
So I'll be back later, right?
Ultimately,
Or
these
after
cancellations
11.
paired with a growing volume of
I'll talk to you guys
lackluster,
later. I should be back in
terribly
another
content
hour. Thank you
contribute to a
for
deeper
joining me,
erosion of
Sean B.
trust between the streaming services
Thank you.
and their audiences. People are becoming more discerning, less likely to commit to a new series if they fear that it might not even make it past a single season. As the quality of content continues to decline, viewers are left wondering whether the convenience of streaming is